Welcome everyone to the 2019 Belgian Grand Prix race review. I think we've all come into this race today with really heavy hearts after the awful scenes in yesterday's Formula 2 race, which resulted in the death of Antoine Hubert, a driver that, if you've followed this channel for this season of Formula 2, was one of my favourites, if not my favourite, on the grid. Someone who has won multiple times this season, who I think proved to many that he was going to make it to the Formula 1 grid in the next couple of years. And I think for a lot of people, including myself, this is the first time we have witnessed anything like this in motorsport. And it really rings home and rings true that this is never going to be 100% safe in Formula 1, and really makes you think, put things into perspective, I think, when we're talking about racing. So, that being said, I think the motorsport community's done a brilliant job and really rallied together throughout this event. And you know what? I think we were treated to a really, really good Grand Prix today with a fitting result, with Charles Leclerc picking up his first ever Formula 1 victory, one of Antoine's close friends. I think this was a real nice way to pay back to the sport. And Leclerc, all weekend, has been on the money. All weekend has been consistently in front of his teammate. And whilst halfway through the race it looked like it was starting to get away from him just a little bit, Hamilton closing in the final stages, he was able to hold on. And I think it choked quite a few of us, brought a tear to quite a few of us eyes, that it was Charles. On this day of all days, it's been a long time for him, but to do it here in Spa after what's happened this weekend was really lovely to see. It would have been great to see him get his first victory in Monza, but I think it's all the more powerful that he got it here today. It was Hamilton in P2, Bottas in P3, Sebastian Vettel down in P4 with the fastest lap. Alex Albon, a really good recovery drive to get back to P5 in the Red Bull. P6 for Sergio Perez, P7 for Danny Kvyat, P8 went to Nico Hulkenberg, P9 Pierre Gasly, and P10 the final point, Lance Stroll. You've just been seeing on your screen the last few seconds the bottom 10, and that was Lando Norris, who DNF'd on the final lap, but because he hadn't been lapped at the time, was able to hold on to P11. That's why he's not down near the bottom of the field. Kevin Magnussen was P12, Romain Grosjean a P13, Daniel Ricciardo P14, George Russell, a really strong race from him once again, ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, who stopped 3 times to Kimi Raikkonen down in P16, Robert Kubica P17, Giovinazzi crashed on the final lap of the Grand Prix, Carlos Sainz had issues early on, and Max Verstappen out at Eau Rouge on the first lap. Just want to quickly mention, I was supposed to be doing a race reaction stream with the F1 word a little bit later on today, but I wasn't sure what mindset I was going to be in today, to be honest with you, and I'm still not quite as chipper, and I think quite a few of us are still taking a bit of time to process what has happened, so apologies if this isn't quite how we normally do things here today, but obviously that is on many people's minds, so sorry if you don't see me over there on Sean's channel today. I just wanted to let you know. But the race itself, as I mentioned, was really good, and I think that's exactly what we all needed. Just a really good race. We had big kerfuffles on the opening lap. We saw fighting at the front, different strategies at play, and I keep saying this all season long, a midfield fight, which was world class. And I know we say this all the time, but if that was the fight for the championship, my God, what a championship it would be. This week I'm going to do it in race order, because sometimes when I do it of what actually happened in the race, the storyline of the race, I think far too much went on today, to be honest. So I think it's easier just to go through driver by driver. And I'm going to do it backwards this week. Sometimes I go from, P1 down to the bottom, but I'm going to do it backwards, starting with Max Verstappen. His home Grand Prix of sorts. Obviously, Belgium is next to the Netherlands, but also Max was born in Brussels in Belgium. Pretty calamitous, I think's a fair way to put it. Has been not quite on the pace this weekend, but that's generally down to the Red Bull car. Lap 1, contact with Kimi Raikkonen. Perez was going up the inside of Raikkonen. Verstappen tried to go up the inside of him. Raikkonen didn't see him. It was very similar to what happened to Raikkonen and Perez a couple of years ago in 2016, I believe it was, in Spa. Verstappen went up the inside, Raikkonen didn't see him, squeezed him. It was taken down to a race incident, which I think was fair enough, but Verstappen lost all kinds of steering, no steering available to him whatsoever. crashed into the barriers at the top of Eau Rouge. Carlos Sainz, well, things didn't go brilliant for him either. Stalled on the opening lap, didn't even get away from the grid. A little bit surprising, but then also on the first lap, seemed to be squirming all over the place. Came into the pits, went back out again, still something wasn't quite right. Then comes into a pits for the second time, stalls the car in the pits, bizarre, and then pulls off while there was the safety car cleaning up Max Verstappen. Sainz then pulled off. We then had to have a second safety car, so the safety car was coming in, then stayed out. It was all a little bit messy, but then racing got going again. But Sainz, on a day where starting down in P15, qualified P17, his 25th birthday today, one to forget for the Spaniard and the Chile master, I believe. Giovinazzi, he ended up DNFing as well. A really big incident at Pouhon in the closing laps. I think it was on the very last lap. I haven't actually seen that incident as of yet. I believe there was something involved with Robert Kubica, but I can't be fully certain because I've not seen it. I've only heard what Crofty said, so I'll have to rewatch that one. But I saw the impact itself, and that looked a big one. So supposedly he's okay, but that was a big impact. So hopefully Gio is all right. He actually was driving a really strong race, and I got up into points actually. Giovinazzi, one of his best races, I would say, in Formula 1 today. So like a few drivers, unlucky to not pick up any points. Kubica and Russell and Raikkonen, really quiet days for all of them, to be honest with you. Raikkonen, obviously the contact at the beginning, ended up doing 3 stops, but on a day where a lot of people expected him to score some big points starting up in P6, I think, well, I was going to say Raikkonen will be disappointed, but that's not really an emotion I think Kimi Raikkonen has. It's disappointment, to be honest with you. So, yeah, quiet days for them. Daniel Ricciardo also got caught up in first lap carnage. I think it was Lance Stroll had a bit of contact with. They tried to do a different strategy, but nothing they could do. Ended up P14, probably the best they could hope for after lap 1. Then came the 2 Haas cars. Romain Grosjean, actually, I was really impressed with today. First stint, up in P6 with Lando Norris. It was those two just on their own behind the top 4. Then, I think a lot of learning has been done today from Haas, because when they did the pit stop, he came out behind Ricciardo. That car does not work in dirty air. I think it's very fair to say it's exactly what was happening with Magnussen in the first stint. Just cannot drive in dirty air, going backwards, losing all tyre temps, and they just got swamped from there. Both drivers, Magnussen eventually got past Grosjean a little bit naughtily. They were both being blue flagged by Hamilton. Grosjean moved to let him over. Magnussen nipped through. So quite nifty racecraft from K-Mag, but both of them I think will be a little bit disappointed. Norris, really strong drive from Lando. Was on for his best ever result in Formula 1 with a P5. Car broke down. 1 lap from home. Gutted for him. Another driver on for points. Stroll in the points. So was Sergio Perez. I mean, most of the guys in the points here. Hülkenberg, Gasly, Kvyat. All of them just got on with the job, and I think quite a few of them got lucky with others' misfortune, I think, but lots of scrapping in that midfield. Perez, P6, really strong job from him. Alex Albon, P5, making all sorts of moves, all sorts of overtakes. From P17 on the grid, really good job from him. Sebastian Vettel in P4. Strategy just didn't go his way from Ferrari today. He'll be gutted to not be on the podium. It's now officially been a whole season of racing without a victory for Sebastian. Valtteri Bottas, to be honest with you, didn't really do anything in the race. Just kept on going. Got a little bit lucky with that. Vettel's strategy didn't work. Ends up on the podium again. So I think he'll be happy with that and picks up more points and extends his lead over Max Verstappen. Hamilton, a little bit like Bottas, a little bit of no man's land, catching Charles Leclerc in the final stages, but just didn't have enough laps. 44 laps, his lucky number, he said in the interviews after the race. Just didn't quite go his way today. Driver of the day then, I've gone with Alex Albon. I just quickly mentioned it there. I was really impressed with him today. His first stint, okay, it wasn't brilliant. Seemed to struggle to get past cars, and I'm thinking, oh no, that's why they dropped Gasly. But in the end, made some awesome moves on Lance Stroll, down into the bus stop, on Sergio Perez on the final lap, on the grass, on the Kemmel Straight, awesome. And my overtake of the day goes to Albon for his move on Daniel Ricciardo. Sexy stuff right there. Really awesome move from Alex Albon. That's exactly what Gasly wasn't doing. And if Albon can keep that up for the rest of the year, he's definitely going to be in that Red Bull next year. Really good job from Alex today. Charles Leclerc, class of the field, in a race of his own at the front almost. At the end, Ferrari seemed to have a little bit worse degradation on their tyres, so Hamilton was able to come back into play, but Leclerc, faultless today, drive to his first ever victory in Formula 1. And Lando Norris, again, class of the midfield, comfortably in front of everybody else, but luck wasn't on his side and ended up P11. Team of the day, Toro Rosso, out in Q1. Both cars ended up 7th and 9th. I think it's a really good job. And my surprise of the day, I've given it to Romain Grosjean, mainly because of that first stint pace. Awesome. Half of the race up in P6. That's exactly what Haas need. It's just that second half. Again, surprised me. And K-Mag surprised me. It's just the rate they were dropping back through the field. So I think they've got lots to work on for next weekend in Monza. The Drivers' Championship looked a little bit like this. Lots of changes in the midfield, starting with Danny Kvyat moving up to P8. Kimi Raikkonen drops down to P9. Albon from 14th goes to 10th after his awesome result in P5. Norris is on 24 points. Then come Ricciardo on 22. Hulkenberg and Perez on 21. Stroll on 19. Magnussen on 18. So almost from Kvyat all the way down to Magnussen, one race can change that completely. Then it's a little bit of a way back to Grosjean. He's on 8 points. Giovinazzi on 1. Kubica also on 1. But Alfa Romeo are appealing I was going to say disqualification, but the 30-second penalty for what happened in Germany. So that might go to 0. But currently Kubica on 1, Russell on 0. Ferrari and the Constructors move slightly closer to Mercedes, but that still seems an unreachable target with just 8 races remaining. Red Bull, a difficult day for them with Verstappen going out of the race and Alex starting so far back. McLaren picking up no points after a double DNF for them. Toro Rosso, 51 points, chugging away. Toro Rosso, another double points finish today. Really strong drive from Kvyat in particular, ending up in P7. He could have been driver of the day as well. Really impressed with Danny, especially after the summer he has had. Points for Hulkenberg puts Renault in P6. Racing Point move up to P7 after a double points finish for them and a 6th place for Perez. Alfa Romeo moved down after no points for them, but again, Giovinazzi was on course until that last lap incident. Haas on 26, no points for them, but what could have been. Both of them running 6th and 7th after the first safety car period, and Williams on a single point. That's your lot for the 2019 Belgian Grand Prix race review. A weekend that I don't think any of us will ever forget. A weekend where we went racing for Antoine. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.